all of you to imagine a scenario. It's a pretty big scenario. You are the CEO of Facebook. You have 2.2 billion monthly users, arguably giving you more influence than any world or religious leader. You employ some of the smartest people and you're among the top 10 richest people in the world. You spend some of your wealth on charity and buy a dog that doubles as a mop. But beyond your mop dog, you've got some bigger issues. Your company is under intense scrutiny. You've been fined by governments of several countries. You face criticism for employing manipulative tricks to keep users hooked to serve them ads. You hear outcries that your platform has become an engine for spreading misinformation and propaganda. You're accused of allowing foreign governments to disrupt elections. What you've built to connect people is now being used to fuel hate crimes and even genocide. Clearly, something needs to be done. Some call for your company to be broken up into smaller, more manageable pieces. Others suggest you change your business model and curb its reliance on ads. You could ask governments for funding because your product is now essentially a public utility. Or you could do nothing and continue to earn money because you have more power than anyone anyway. If you were calling the shots, what would you choose to do? We've now come to realise that social media and other tech, which many of us quickly embraced, comes with a cost to our personal lives and our society. If we want a better future, we have to find a way to fix these problems. This has led a lot of us to ask, what's our role as citizens? What's the responsibility of these companies? And what can governments do to ensure big tech behaves more responsibly? This is a particularly difficult question because never in history have we encountered companies as large as Facebook or Google or Amazon. Their user base is a big chunk of the world population, and their revenue exceeds the GDP of entire countries. With this unprecedented scale comes new questions. When does a big company become too big? In fact, we've faced a similar challenge before. More than 100 years ago, Louis Brandeis, an American Supreme Court justice, warned about the dangers of corporations becoming too big. He argued that if we don't develop any rules, a business could achieve a level of near sovereignty, but without the checks and balances that we have for elected political authorities. He called this the curse of bigness. So Brandeis introduced antitrust laws and public utility regulation. These strategies worked pretty great for the economy for decades, but eventually, businesses also evolved. Major tech companies are shapeshifters that don't fit into well-defined categories like retail or news media, for which we already have rules. What's more, laws that were set to prevent monopolies and protect consumers from rising prices don't apply to these corporations. After all, businesses operating in the attention economy defy the metrics of antitrust law because they offer free services. And so today, the curse of bigness is back.
I strongly believe that some of the big tech platforms have too much power. I think that something has so much control over what you see and hear, understand, is getting at a real, it's getting at attention, which is, as I said, the key. And everyone knows that what you're exposed to controls what you think, ultimately, where you're grown up, whatever. And so if you have that power, you ultimately start to have a power, I think, that rivals government.
And we're starting to ask for checks and balances on these powers.
There has been an increasing sense of people going, okay, that might have been enough. And that's hardly surprising. In most moments in our society, it takes a while for the technology to go from being brand new, shiny, and very exciting to going, eh. And I think we're on the back end of some of that, right? And my suspicion is looking even at the data about how people use new services and new devices is that people are actually spending a lot less time with certain parts of the ecosystem. So if you look at Facebook's numbers, for instance, they have seen a growth in the 50 to 60-year-old usage, but a diminishing in the under 25s.
The Facebook exodus in particular is significant. Nearly half of users ages 18 to 29 have deleted the app from their phone in the last year, a new survey has found. Another survey revealed that even teens think teens spend too much time on their phones. Now, I remember clearly when I first used the internet, when I saved up money from my part-time job to buy my first phone, and when I first watched YouTube. But there's a whole generation that are even younger than Facebook.
Everything is very centered around being online. And so whether it's, even if it's something that's supposed to be good, like doing my homework, I'm online. And then I'll be texting my friends, that's online. And it comes down to when I'm not actively doing something to try not to be online, by default, I'm online.
Even though this generation was born into an online world, nearly 3/4 of teens say they believe tech companies are manipulating users to spend more time glued to their devices.
Snapchat streaks where it only works if you Snapchat somebody every day is literally just so that people will come back and use the app more.
We have a certain amount of willpower, but at some point, when we have all these like ads and all these YouTube recommended videos, it just becomes like too much, and that's how we get distracted. We're just like, oh yeah, this looks cool. It's only 3 minutes, and then we see like all these short videos and we start watching more and more. And then eventually we have a homework assignment due tomorrow, and it's our bedtime, and we haven't done it yet.
I know I sound like I'm blaming all of these issues that are obviously something that I can control on these tech companies, but it does feel like I'm 13 years old. It shouldn't be my responsibility wholeheartedly to ensure that I'm not wasting all my time on social media.
Whether you're 13 or 33 or 73, it's not your responsibility to make sure that internet businesses behave ethically. It's their responsibility. Or I guess it could be yours if you really were the CEO of Facebook.
I would probably try and change the company to make it so there's like less ads and stuff. Like Facebook makes so much profit that they don't need the ads because that just gives them even more profit. And then that is what is distracting kids.
Beyond distraction, some say there should be a cap on how large a company can grow, and tech companies should be broken into smaller pieces.
If I think about Facebook, we don't need a monopoly. We don't need an outsized single platform that controls so much attention. There should at the very least be competition in that sphere, better competition. People who pledge to serve you as opposed to trying to suck as much out of you as they can and spit it out to somebody else. So I think we need a revolution in the business models, frankly, and someone who promises to do more for us as opposed to taking so much from us.
Others say Facebook, Twitter, and similar internet services should be considered a public utility, like electricity or transportation. They've become so ingrained in our society that we don't want them gone. We just want to make sure they're serving us in the right way.
And a public good is something that operates in society. It's highways, it's national parks, it's things that economically don't stack up to be protected by the average person, but are protected by a governing body or an NGO or an entity. And through that manner, perhaps Facebook is public good, perhaps because it gives our digital selves an informational highway, it connects us with the people we want, it's become so integral that maybe it should be devolved away from companies and into the hands of the civil society.
Whether it's Facebook connecting us, YouTube delivering educational videos, or Instagram being a public art space, these could all be public utilities. And so perhaps they should be operated differently. Regulators in the US and Europe have started to scrutinize the tech industry. But the truth is, it takes a while for regulations to come. The good news is that people have power. No matter how big the tech industry is, it still needs you.
Well, I think we need a revolution, frankly. I think people need to collectively re-seize what it means to be human, that we need to resist companies that have a business model that is not serving us.
You could quit if you're able to. You could demand your representatives in government hold companies accountable. You could take steps to monitor your screen time or protect your data. You could just watch this series and follow investigations by news media to stay on top of what's happening.
You know, we always look back later and say, how was it that we allowed that to happen? We just let ourselves sit there, lying in bed, scrolling through whatever screens and like, wait, why didn't I get any sleep? What happened? Where did my kids go? You know, I think that we're going to regret some of the periods of this era, but I think we have the capacity to learn and do better.
There's a lot of good that comes with technology. But new innovations can also bring new curses and can make mistakes. As Louis Brandeis, the judge who warned of the curse of bigness, said, "The greatest dangers to liberty lurk in the insidious encroachment by men of zeal, well-meaning, but without understanding." We now have to break the curse. It's the responsibility of all of us to take a step back and question our modern technologies. Just as we invented seatbelts and airbags for cars and issued health warnings for alcohol and tobacco, we can make a better, safer future. It's clear that the attention economy needs to change. And you can be part of that change.
So what do you want Silicon Valley to look like in 10 years' time? Well, you can watch all 6 episodes of Attention Wars on youtube.com/BrainCraft. Thanks.
I'd win.